Hello and welcome to Peggy's Plants, coming to you from Central Florida. In this video, I'm going to share with you a plant haul from Greenspaces ID. These are some of the plants in my collection from Greenspaces ID. They were ordered online from Indonesia. However, Greenspaces now offers a ready stock selection of plants that will be shipped directly from their partner warehouse in New Jersey. Why do I order from Greenspaces? They don't require an import permit, and there's a large selection of rare, hard to find, and common plants at a reasonable price, and their shipping rates are reasonable. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Greenspaces, here's a peek at their website. If you see something you may like to purchase, use code PEGGY20 and get a 20% discount on your order. They're a reputable company, and as you'll see from their website, they have a large selection of plants to choose from. I'll have links in the description box to their website as well as their social media accounts. Today I'll be sharing a plant haul from Greenspaces. They offered me the opportunity to once again collaborate with them, and they sent me 6 plants that I'm going to share with you today. So let's move on to the plant haul. The first plant is the Anthurium regale hybrid, which is on their website for $64. You see it depicted here in the ad. So I like to show you what they are advertising and then show you what I received. This is the plant that I received, and as you see, it is in sphagnum moss, and it was in the mail a while because these plants did come from Indonesia. I feel like the picture in the ad is indeed a fair representation of what I received, and after removing the sphagnum moss, I was pleased to find a nice root system. Now, although there are some yellow leaves, this is a nice looking plant. The leaves are perky, they're upright, and after placing the roots in water for a week, they're nice and plump and the plant is ready for planting. So this is what the roots look like after putting them in water. And this is how the plant look. I did remove the yellow leaves. As you can see, the leaves are doing well. They're well hydrated. I'm very pleased with this plant. I've never had an Anthurium regale before, so I'm extremely excited to add this plant to my collection. And as most of my Anthurium, in fact, I think all of them, I opted to put them in LECA. I grow most of my plants in LECA. I will put a link to my LECA video if you haven't watched that before and it's something you think you might be interested in doing. But it's just the process that seems to work best for me with most of my plants and definitely with Anthurium. After potting this plant, I decided to put it over here on my kitchen counter out of direct sunlight. It's over here with the rest of my Anthurium. I only have one additional that's not over here, but for some reason my Anthurium like this area on my kitchen counter, and there's no additional humidity or anything like that added, but they're happy here, so I'm hoping that this one too will be happy here. Moving on to plant number 2, which is a Monstera adansonii mint variegated, which is my first mint plant. So I'm very excited about it, and it sells on their website for $64. My first impression of this plant is that it is absolutely beautiful. It does have some dead leaves, which is I'm not concerned about at all. They will be removed. I already removed the sphagnum moss from the roots. So yeah, it has some nice roots here. So any roots that are black, like you see here, I just remove those and to prepare the plant for potting. But before I pot this plant, I went on and soaked it in some water, just let it sit in some water for a week. And this is the root system that was left, and this is how the plant looked after hydrating. I'm very happy with this plant. Has some little leaves unfurling, so I decided to also put this one in LECA and attach it to a totem. Once it was potted, I decided that I will have this plant on this table over here directly in front of a window. This window never gets direct sun, but it has great lighting, which I know these adansonii can handle this amount of lighting. It's diffused, and it seems to be happy here. It's been here for I'd say a couple of days now. It's doing well, and I am very pleased with the plant. Moving on to plant number 3. This is one of the plants I'm most excited about, and this is the philodendron violin variegated, and it sells on their site for $50. One of the reasons I didn't do an unboxing video is because when these plants arrived, I was out of town. And so someone else had to take them out of the box for me, but left them in the sphagnum moss and kept them hydrated as well as they knew how. And I have to say, these plants held up very well from, what they went through in transit and then being unboxed and not just fully hydrated immediately. Also, looking at the pictures, the representation of these plants on their website, I have to say, in terms of size and quality, these plants are spot on. And I went through the same process with this plant, removing the sphagnum moss, then leaving this plant, the roots in water for a week to hydrate the plant. And here I am just wiping down the leaves with some lemon juice on a soft cloth, and it removes water spots and things like that. So this plant had some hard water spots on some of the leaves. So I just wanted to clean that up. And I also potted this plant up in LECA. I decided to place this plant on the same table as the Adansonii, and I think it will do well here also. I'm amazed at just how healthy this plant looks after fully hydrating. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, I guess I have shown off this plant and looked at this plant enough. So let's move on to the next plant, which is an Aglaonema frozen. And this plant sells on the Greenspaces ID website for $33. Now, I don't have a lot of Aglaonemas, but I love them. I think I have one, and this plant is beautiful. The colors look a little washed out because of what it's been through, but I love some a plant with some pink in it. Of course, some of these leaves will need to be removed, but I am so happy to see all these plump, juicy roots. You can tell that the roots are a little dehydrated, but they're really in good condition and nice and thick. So the first thing I'm gonna do is clean up this plant by removing anything that's dead or dying. I'll also go through and check out the roots. Any roots that are not viable, I will remove them also, and just clean up the plant before I place it in water for a week to hydrate. And this is what the plant looked like after cleaning it up. I was happy to see that it has several nodes on the stem, was left with lots of nice thick roots, and several leaves on the plant that look really good. After hydrating the roots, this is what the plant looked like. I am very, very excited about this plant. So once again, I potted this plant up in LECA. I went on and put this in its permanent pot, or at least the pot that I feel it will be in, for months to come. And because the roots are so plump and thick and doing so well, I think this plant will be just fine. I like to use the plastic container for my plants when I'm first potting them so that I can look in and see how the roots are doing in case they're not doing well, or in case the plant starts showing signs of decline. I can see what the roots are doing. But I'm not worried about this one. I went on and potted it up and put it over here on my plant shelf. And as you can see, it's been in this pot for a few days. It's been over here, I guess, like 3, 4 days, and the leaves are getting more color. The plant is looking really good. I'm very happy about it. It's getting diffused sunlight, and it seems very happy in its new home. Moving on to the next plant, it is a Monstera albo white tiger, which sells on the Greenspaces website for $85. Now, I'm a glutton for punishment. I love a white tiger, and plants with more white tend to be more difficult. But for some reason, I just love them. I have two others. They're small, and it's been a struggle, but I love this plant. Look at it. I think this plant is absolutely beautiful. Now, I removed the sphagnum moss, went through the same process. Wasn't thrilled with the roots here. I have two rooted aerial roots basically, and some of that has started to rot. So I removed anything that wasn't viable, and this is what the plant looked like after I removed what I had to of the roots. I was left with two basically rooted aerial roots, and I put the plant in water for a week as I had done the other ones. Not left with a whole lot in terms of root here, but Monstera albos make me nervous anyway, so I'm not going to leave this in water. I know some people would probably leave this in water until it got more roots or whatever, but for me, LECA is my safety net. So I put this one in LECA as well. I'm going to definitely be keeping an eye on these roots. I'm using a plastic container with a hole in it. Again, look at my LECA video to understand why I use this particular process. But I will definitely be keeping an eye on these roots to make sure they're getting one, enough water to continue to root, and two, that the roots do not rot. But this is what the plant looks like now. Very nice looking plant. And I decided to put that one over here on this same table as the Adansonii. Definitely keeping her somewhere where I will see her every day so that I will notice if she decides to decline any or she doesn't like where she is. So I think they're absolutely beautiful over here grouped together. The sixth and final plant is this Hoya Welliniana Splash, which sells on the Greenspaces ID website for $41. Now, if I had to pick one plant out of this shipment that I'm concerned about, it would be this one. As you can see, this plant is very dehydrated. So, of course, I'm going to take this plant through the same process as all the others, and it may end up being just fine. So, the first thing I'm going to do is remove the sphagnum moss and take a look at the roots so I can see what we're working with. I remove the sphagnum moss, and yeah, unfortunately I'm not working with a whole lot here. Like a lot of Hoyas, this plant has very fine roots, and yeah, I'm concerned. But all is not lost. If after hydrating it, putting it in water for a week, if it doesn't do well, I can always chop and prop. After a week of hydrating the plant in water, this is what the roots look like. All is not lost. I'm actually feeling very optimistic about the plant, however. The leaves look much better than they did when I first got this plant. They're not nearly as dehydrated, so the roots are viable. I think this plant is going to be okay. I also decided to plant this Hoya in LECA in a clear plastic container, clear being key here, as well, so that I can keep an eye on the roots if things start to go south. If this plant does not, if it starts to struggle, if it starts to drop leaves, I will do the chop and prop. So either way, I'm thinking this plant will be just fine. I decided to place this Hoya on my plant shelf in front of a window with diffused lighting. I think it will do well here. And also, I can keep a good eye on it. If it starts dropping leaves at the first sign of that, I'm going to step in and chop and prop this plant. So, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to look in the description box, visit Greenspaces ID, use the code PEGGY20 to get 20% off of your order if you decide to do so. You can also follow them on social media. All of their links will also be listed in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Green Spaces, for sponsoring this video. You all take care. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.